All right. Well, hey, welcome everyone. It's nice to see a lot of smiling faces tonight at our Monday, February the 12th, regular work session board meeting. I call the meeting to order and ask on our treasurer to please call the roll.
Mrs. Snow?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Shiber?
Here.
Mrs. Mulligan?
Here.
Dr. Urso?
I am here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Thanks, Todd. And a second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Anita. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? All right, then Mr. Bertrand.
Mrs. Snow?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Shiber?
Yes.
Mrs. Mulligan?
Yes.
Dr. Urso?
Yes. Does not appear to be any public participation for this evening. It allows us to kind of skip right through and get to our presentation. I noticed some familiar faces. We visited Rosa Parks a week or two ago and got to meet some of these young folks and are excited to invite our Rosa Parks influencer group to speak to us regarding their trip to the Cincinnati Zoo. And so I'll hand it over to our superintendent, Ms. Hauser.
Okay, are we going to come up front, guys? Of our Rosa Parks influencers and staff. Anyone's welcome. Up front, come on up. We cannot wait to hear what you have to share with us about your evening at the zoo. So you guys, can you see the screen over there? Can you see? Okay. So I'm going to let you take it away. The floor is all yours. We can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Thank you so much for having us tonight. I'm Miss Puckett.
I'm Henry Reed, school counselor.
These are some of our 5th grade Panther influencers. We have about 22, but they're the representation tonight. All right, you guys ready?
Hi, my name is Aubrey Johnson, and my favorite part about being an influencer is giving tours around the building to meet new people and show them how nice our school is.
Hi, my name is Janet Alonso Silva, and I like being an influencer because I like being a leader and not a follower.
Hi, my name is Kaden Hunter. My favorite part about being an influencer is showing others kindness. Hi, my name is Kevin Hunter. My favorite part about being an influencer is influencing people to be kind and helping others.
Being a Panther influencer is leading by example for our classmates and being a positive role model for others. Aubrey is going to hand out a paper with what the whole group thinks being an influencer means.
Thank you. Thanks, Aubrey. Thank you.
So the students that are influencers came up with words that described it and some of their quotes.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
We were recently able to go to the zoo overnight, and we're going to tell you about it.
One of the first things we got to do at the zoo was getting to get up close and personal with animals, and we even got to touch them. We got to tour the DNA lab where they
One more. Okay,
There we go. Oh.
We got to research. We got to tour the DNA lab where they protect and research different plant and animal species. We even got to give a rhino an ultrasound.
Wow.
One of our favorite parts is we got to go behind the scenes and see living panther manatees. We also learned how they rescue them when they go to be released them back into the wild. While we were falling asleep, we were watching the manatees.
Huh.
That's
It was
awesome.
like a giant sleepover, but instead of having to go to someone's house, we were sleeping in the manatee's house. The next morning, we had the zoo to ourselves. Usually, we get to go to the zoo in first grade, but because of COVID, we didn't get to. It was my first time and a lot of others. Last year, we got to go to Camp Kern. We got to spend the night at Camp Kern. We did many fun things like zip lining, hiking, and campfires. We hope to go again, but this time with Bill Ridge and May.
Thanks again for letting us share a little bit about our influencers. Hope you guys enjoyed what they had to say.
Is there any questions for them?
Yeah. like,
The night you stayed in the zoo, did you hear odd noises, the animals waking up and stuff? Was it scary?
Want to answer that question? Yeah, I know. What'd you think about sleeping in the zoo?
Wait, why not? I didn't really hear noises, but no, I don't think so. But maybe other people.
I think they slept better than the adults.
I have a question. When we came to visit, you were very, very nice to us, and you said all the good things about being an influencer. What's difficult about being an influencer?
Any challenges about being an influencer?
What do you think's hard about being an influencer?
That we have to go up to a bunch of adults.
we don't bite. So after visiting the zoo, and this is for any one of you, do you think one day you might like to work there? And if so, what might you like to do?
I would like to feed the animals and give them groom them.
Anybody else?
There he goes.
I'll probably want to feed the animals and play with them.
Elephants.
Snakes.
We got to touch a snake.
Oh.
What do you think of a snake?
What about your favorite animals?
I have a bunch, but I have to say that it's probably gonna be a bird. It's a kind of bird. Maybe a crow. I like the crows.
Okay.
My favorite animal would be a koala because they're so
Oh,
soft.
yeah.
Mhm. So cuddly.
My favorite animal is probably a cheetah because it's fast.
There you go.
My favorite animal is probably a gorilla because they're strong.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so another skill of an influencer is introductions, correct? How about if our influencers introduce who they brought with them tonight? There you go. Who are they? Who are all these people sitting in the chairs?
I brought my brother, his girlfriend, my mom, my dad, and my grandma, and my cousins.
There you go. And where are they? Have them raise their hand. There you go. Look at that. Look at
Good
that.
crowd.
Very good. Who'd you bring tonight?
I brought my mom.
Hi, Mom.
I brought my grandma.
There's Grandma.
And I brought my fellow staff.
There we go. Who are they, Mr. Reed?
We got Miss Murphy, an awesome 5th grade teacher, Miss Helton, our teacher leader. We got Miss Lomar, our assistant principal, and then Miss Good, our principal. And
Miss
Miss
Hurd.
Hurd.
There too. Don't forget her.
Yeah, Miss Hurd as well, and also Miss Puckett. Yeah.
There we go. So I know Mr. Reed and Miss Puckett, you also attended the field trip. What are some of your reflections learning yourself when you were an overnight at the zoo?
I just wish I would have been able to do it as a kid. Just them giggling as they went to sleep and getting to spend the night with all your friends and sleep with the manatees lit up in the background. It was just such a cool experience.
Yeah. I think for me, being up close with the people working there and those people were so eager to share a bunch of information with the kids, being able to ask them any question you wanted was pretty awesome. Yeah.
How many students attended?
We had 21 go.
Okay, so now you're talking about Camp Kern. So an interesting fact, so you mentioned that you hope that you were able to go to Camp Kern this year. Well, you know what the Board of Education is going to be doing tonight? That's on their agenda tonight to vote, to approve for you to attend Camp Kern. That's one of their responsibilities. So this is the perfect opportunity for you influencers to talk to your board members, because in reality, guys, They approve because that's an overnight field trip. They have to say that you can go. And that's one of the votes that they're going to be having tonight. So what would you like to say to them as they consider your field trip to Camp Kern this year?
It was fun. I loved it, and I had a great experience there, and I just want to go again. I love that experience. It was pretty fun, and I liked it, so I think we should go again.
So let me also mention that going to Camp Kern helps you develop as an influencer. So how does going to Camp Kern help you develop your skills to serve as an influencer? Mr. Reed and Miss Puckett might be able to help you with that too.
It was definitely like a big bonding experience. Like kids who wouldn't normally be friends, like definitely like clicked up and were tight the whole trip. So that was cool to see 4th and 5th graders get together and kind of, they don't normally interact throughout the school day, but they were able to get together and do like leadership activities and kind of encourage each other to do some of those more daring activities that kids were nervous to do.
Yeah, one of them was highlighted, if you see one of those helmets on, they got to do this really cool zip line, and actually everyone up here, some of them were like really reluctant. They might not admit it now, but they really didn't want to go up. So that skill, kind of overcoming of fear, was something that we talked about, and like talking them through it, talking about how we could, if you can overcome this, there's just about anything that you can do. And like Ms. Puckett was saying, a lot of those team building activities, I think the one on the bridge, we were kind of out there in the woods, we had to work together through a lot of different kind of obstacle course stuff. That was really cool to watch them, like she was saying, 4th and 5th graders bonding together. As you guys know, we go to like Highview, and the middle school allows them to create some of those bonds now that we hope can help flourish in the future. So a lot of cool experiences that they had at Camp Kern that we would love to have another opportunity to go as well.
And last year it was just Rosa Parks, but we're actually hoping to partner up with Miller Ridge so that those 5th graders can meet each other before going to Highview, so that when they walk through the doors next year, they can kind of lean on each other as leaders and kind of create like a little bond, so hopefully when they go to Highview, they can continue to be the role model in that building as well.
How long has this program been going on?
We started Influencers, I would say like 3 years ago. Ms. Good kind of piloted it, but this year we started an after-school club with it, so we've built a lot on it, and it's become a lot more involved this year.
Okay. Good work, good work.
How about you guys? Do you have any questions for us up here? This is your Board of Education. You've heard of them many times. They make lots and lots and lots of important decisions.
Yeah, and actually,
Go ahead.
she wanted to
Mr.
share a
Reed
little
can.
bit more about,
Yeah.
that time she
Oh,
went on
do
the
it.
zip line.
Yep.
I want to tell you how I felt on the zip line. It was very high up. I volunteered to go first with Camden, and then we were both up there. I was looking down. It felt like it was pulling me, but it wasn't. But when I was about to tear up, I was gonna tear up. I was gonna cry because I was so scared. But then, when the one that was like instructing us what to do said, "Oh, you're gonna go down on the count of 3." She was like 1, 2, 3, and I just went. I didn't just like hesitate to say to like stuff, and then I just went.
There's a life lesson there.
Yeah, how many times did you go after that?
I don't know. Like I went so much time.
I was going to say, yeah, so she was one of our first ones to go, and as she was describing, she was like really scared, and the instructor up there was giving them a lot of good tools. And after she went, though, getting that first one through, I mean, she went like, 2 or 3 more times after that. So once again, kind of getting over that fear, hopefully can help. That's a skill you can build over time. So.
And I think there's only like 6 out of the 22 kids that went last year, so this is going to be a new experience for a lot of our influencers.
Yeah.
I'll just add a comment. Like I indicated before, our visit to Rosa Parks, you were the first people that we met as we entered the school, and you did influence our visit. Entering the school and meeting young people, smiling, and then seeing you here with your families. Mr. Hunter, you're a wrestler, right? I remember our conversation about wrestling, and so you do influence more than you know. And on a side note, my niece Allison works at the zoo in that same program. program, and so your desire to work there is feasible. I have a family member, she's, I think, just turned 20, and she loves it. She goes and sleeps with the manatees, and it's her job. She's in school, and she does that also. And so it might seem like a dream, but those dreams actually do happen. And so I would encourage you to continue, if that's something that you enjoy, pursue it.
The world would be a better place if everybody did these, had these skills and exercise. Do they allow older people to go on the zip line? Is there
Kathy's ready to go.
Yep. Okay, you guys have questions for us? Your Board of Education? You have questions?
I've got Kevin, correct?
Camden?
Okay, Camden. Did you make it to state?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I didn't wrestle yet.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it hasn't
Just
come
get-
up yet, okay. 'Cause we want a full report.
Yeah.
Both boys are wrestlers.
Oh,
Fantastic.
okay.
Both going to state?
Yeah, what'd you place this weekend?
So I wrestled at divisional state on Sunday, and I got third.
Woohoo, good for you.
Novice state, and I got second.
Ooh,
Nice work.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Proud of you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you very much.
Make
Thanks
sure
for
you
sharing
guys
your
give
evening with
everybody
us.
lots of extra hugs and kisses tonight for coming out. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We'll
Thank
give
you, Rosa Parks staff.
Yeah, you're welcome to join us for the rest of our meeting. It's not terribly
you don't
long
have to.
meeting this evening, but this is a good time if you want to scoot, if you don't want to stay. We totally understand that too.
Well, we hope you vote well.
Yeah, if you want to stick around for that.
Pick it up on YouTube.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda for this evening, of which Camp Kern is included. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? No. Any concerns? Anything that needs to be explained? Most everything, I believe, is standard.
Pretty much.
The work with Warren County ESC, that's routine, isn't it?
That's for placement for 2 of our students. You see 2 contracts on the agenda, and that's for 2 of our students to
Okay.
finish out the school year.
Okay.
Learning centers.
In listening to them talk about Camp Kern, is Miller Ridge, or are Miller Ridge and Rosa Parks the only 2 schools that participate in that, or are others
In the overnight.
in the overnight?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. At this point in time, yeah.
Okay. There are no other questions. Are we ready to vote? All right, then, Mr. Bertram.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Schreiber?
Yes.
Mrs. Mulligan?
Yes.
Dr. Urso?
Yes.
Mrs. Snow?
Jeez, we're already to the committee reports.
Passed.
It did pass. All right, committee reports. Like I said, it is a light agenda for tonight. I didn't realize that. Prior, or since our last meeting, have any of the committees listed there? Have they met?
DLT met.
Ms. Hauser, do you want to open up that conversation?
We did. We had DLT and we had the policy committee, so we were busy between the 2 meetings. So Ms. Mulligan and Ms. Scheibert both attended, so I'm going to turn it over. You guys want to share what we discussed at DLT and then an overview, because that was a long one, and then the policy committee.
Would be the importance of showing up.
There you go. That's a start, right? 80% of success.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We talked about the problems that children have when they don't attend school, and how things get complicated if people don't stay up, don't keep up. And we appreciated all the accoutrements and the ways of getting that across to us, and some of the ways we try to get that across to the students, which is vital. And the different buildings gave presentations for what they're doing in their buildings to try to get more success. And then it made the paper about paying kids to go to school. And people are going, what? But
Yeah.
we have to say that they have to be in school. You can't say whatever it takes, but sometimes you have to push the envelope a little bit. And then the policy committee, keeping up is our dream there, and I think we are kept up. I can't remember anything world-shaking. It seemed like pretty routine things. Anita, anything to add?
Yeah, in the policy meeting, I know we discussed 3 things. One was curricular and extracurricular activities, interscholastic athletics, and public conduct on school property. And the first 2, I believe both of those, we wanted some clarification of some language from Ohio School Board Association, so we're kind of waiting on that one. We didn't do too much with that. Public conduct is pretty much the same. I think the one thing that was added in was like, wasn't it marijuana or something
Yeah.
on school
Right,
property? That was just an additional thing, but.
An updated policy.
Right, right. But there is a policy on public conduct on school grounds. The DLT, I wanted to add too, because I don't know that we've ever said this before, but Mrs. Hensley did give a good presentation at the beginning of what the purpose of the district leadership team is. And these are the main 3 parts. The analysis of district student data through the individual building lens, and that's what happens. The buildings come with their principal and their teacher leader, and not only do they share what they're doing with the data in their buildings, but it's shared among all the buildings together, and people can comment on things and, say things that they'd like, or what they see they may take somewhere else. So it's a very interesting thing. A second goal is to analyze district-wide adult practices and student performance data, and that comes a lot in the sharing, like things that are working at this school and it might work for you, or things that are working at this grade that might work for you. Determine strengths and areas of concern by grade level, subjects, and student groups. And so it seemed like a natural transition that this discussion of attendance had to be a part of this, because attendance, is a statewide problem. I don't know nationally, I haven't kept up, I think it is, but I know within the state there was discussion of this last November at the school board convention, and among everybody. And as Mrs. Hauser said, if we've got to have you there, if we're going to make changes, we have to have you there. The children are there. And I think that the input from each building, they know their buildings, they know what is keeping kids home a lot. And perhaps, a bigger discussion has to come within the community too about the things that we don't know, or the things that we as a school can't take care of. Homelessness is a big issue. I mean, we can do a lot of things, but homelessness is a community issue. So perhaps this is going to have to snowball into something that includes a community discussion. But the school is trying very hard to do what's within the school capability as far as attendance and encouraging, and especially that component of that I often hear about, people don't feel comfortable coming within the school. I don't know about all the buildings, but I know about some of the buildings, and I think there are great efforts going on. I think people are hesitant because they don't know school. They don't know, they're not comfortable in school. Maybe they weren't comfortable when they were growing up, and so they're still not comfortable, or worse. And so it's a reaching out. It's a big reaching out thing that has to be a constant effort. So, and I think that's it. I think it's hard to describe. We have a whole folder full of things of what we do at the district leadership team. There are lots of graphs of where the highs and lows are, where what schools are doing, where they're concentrating on different groups, like the high ones that aren't getting higher, or the low ones that aren't getting higher, or in that middle group that stays static. There is a focus on every single group that you can think of by these people. And I'm telling you, some interesting ideas come up when people get together. It's a very valuable amount of time that's spent there. I think that is very fruitful. I don't know how it goes back to the buildings, but I know the information that I hear there it shows a lot of work on the part of a lot of people. So,
Right.
yeah.
And that's really our middle of the year check-in with all of our buildings. It's looking at our data. It's moving in towards the second semester of school and the focus areas and the data points. So also wanted to mention, you both touched on the attendance initiative that we rolled out at our DLT. It's called Midi Minutes Matter. So it has a name, and many of you may have already seen that that's already on social media. Our buildings are talking about that. There are contests within the buildings when it comes to perfect attendance. But stay tuned, because there's going to be more around that. You're going to start to see more information coming. You're always going to see an attendance focus. So now attendance was always important before, but really we've elevated it, through the eyes of chronic absenteeism. So you're going to start to hear when we share data, we're also going to bring in, and the attendance rate of that group was. So it's just bringing that back to the surface, and truly it is. It's showing up each and every day, and that also starts with each one of us. You have to own it yourself. You ask yourself, do you show up each and every day? And when you show up, that's a fair expectation. We need people to show up. And like I said, it's 80% of the battle of success is showing up each day. But we rolled that out at our DLT, so look forward to more information when it comes to focusing on attendance, and yeah, good things are happening.
Just a comment on that. I appreciate the district's clear and transparent communication of where we are. It gives me hope that we can move. I appreciate, Ms. Scheibert, your point too about it's going to be a community-wide problem, yet also solution. In our schools, I know that it's on the front of our mind, and I appreciate the fact that we realize that the community is going to be equal partners within solving this, and that we have to listen and understand better through the eyes and ears of family and communities and students what is at the core of the attendance concerns. And then from there, I think we can formulate better ideas and responses to that, instead of just assuming that we truly do know. So
It takes a community, an entire community, and not just the school community, to help these problems that exist. We do a lot of things in school, but we can't do everything. We don't have it in with everyone. And so I know that people may have been surprised by the attendance numbers. Anyone in school who has any connection with schools probably wasn't surprised, because there's been a lot of talk about this. It's a bigger problem in some places than here, as bad as it is here. It's worse in other metropolitan areas. So we do have to figure it out, because all the efforts of all the things that teachers are doing aren't worth a hoot if you don't have your child or the student sitting in their seat. So, yeah.
That's right.
So thank you.
So
Holly has something.
I just had a bit of a question as far as that. The only thing that slightly concerns me, and I'm wondering where it'll go with it, because I'm sure there's not any data on it, is, it's wonderful to have a reward system to get the kids to school, but what happens when those kids don't want to lose that reward and they're showing up to school sick?
Well, that's always a discussion that we have to have.
And,
Because you can't come to school sick.
And I think, I wonder how much of the absentee data is kids who were home ill, but the parents can't necessarily get them to the doctor. As a parent of 7, my kids get a cold, I don't haul them to the doctor to get a doctor's note. Like, we just run the course at home, and then you go back to school when you're done. So, and I know, at least from as a parent, Middletown Schools only allows 4 parent excuses, like 4 parental excuses. So after that, now parents are now forced to take their kids to the doctor to get that doctor's note to get it excused. And then you've got how many parents have co-pays, and just like at my husband's case, if my kids bring home sickness, my husband has no choice at his job right now. He's in a probationary period, but to go in sick. If he doesn't go, he may lose his job. So these are kind of all things that I'm just kind of like, how is this going to affect all of that? Because kids are going to be like, well, I want the reward, so let me just go sick. And I have a kid who, trust me, he gets up and he wants to go to school so bad that he's like, I want to go. And I've had to stop him and be like, sorry, bud, you're running a fever. We don't share our germs. Like, let's not do this. So that's where I just kind of wonder, like, is there a way that we're going to kind of address that?
Well, that is a real struggle. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a struggle for all of us as parents. But the beauty of the majority of the reward system is if you don't get it this month, there's next month. If you don't get it next month, you can get it the next month. So there are tiers of those rewards. But really, we're focusing on the positive when it comes to the chronic absenteeism issues. We have habitually truant, and that's a whole different other discussion. But with Midi Minutes Matter, it's focusing on the positive. And you're right, Miss Snow. I mean, we all deal with that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants perfect attendance, but shoot, if you have a fever, you have to stay home, right? So, but like I said, the beauty of it is, next month you have another shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Other items within the committees? All right, then I believe we're to Board of Education reports. And Ms. Snow, anything to report this evening?
No.
Mr. Moore?
Just wanted to say that I enjoyed the presentation tonight. It's good to see kids and families here. And, you look across the list here with the influencers and many of the values, I think, that they're trying to practice. Certainly, I hope that some of our other buildings, I'm not sure if other buildings have a similar group, but I was very impressed with what they're doing, and I wish them well as they move through the rest of the year. It's nice to see this program in practice.
We're doing good things.
Yep. There are other, I know that last year when we visited, I know that
Central?
Central
Yeah.
definitely has some. Miller Ridge had a group that took us around. Mayfield?
They all have something
Yeah, they
that's
call-
along this, they call them
they call
something
it something
different, but it's all
different, yeah.
basically the same idea.
But
with
I
it,
think it's
yeah.
a wonderful thing
Yeah,
to give these
student-led
kids
leaders.
the opportunity to do this. They seem very proud of themselves, and they are, they're very kind and very welcoming to people who come in. Okay. The only other thing I would want to say, I want to go back to the district leadership team. I'm always so impressed when we go in there. There is so much that's packed into that time. Mrs. Mulligan and I only go for the first hour, and then the rest of them continue on. But I can't, I walk out of there with a folder, and we have to talk all the way back to her house, and that's too close. And then we think about it and talk again. But I don't know how to convey the amount of work that these people are doing behind the scenes that is amazing to me. It is truly amazing. I wish somehow people could, be a fly on the wall and see what goes on there. There is information that is pulled out of things that are happening in every school that are just such hard work. I'm trying to think of some of the things they talked about, like that I was so impressed with. Learning words that are on a test, like direction words, so you know what they're asking you to do. Little things, I mean, this is getting pulled down into the little tiny facts that go into things that trip kids up. And I think it's fascinating. It is really good work. And I have to congratulate that whole team, all those people. And boy, do these people know their school buildings. Wow.
It's beautiful, isn't
It
it?
is
It's a
wonderful.
beautiful thing to see.
It really is.
How we have 10 different school buildings, but they're all speaking with the same voice, all towards student achievement and what's best for children.
Right, and finding a way to fit it into their situation, which is always a little bit different, but everybody comes up with something that, it's a tweak on a very similar theme. And,
For their building.
Yes.
The unique, the
Yes.
unique
Yes.
needs of their building.
yeah, boy, but
It is, it's a busy meeting.
I have never seen data used so, I don't know, it's just, a lot is pulled out. A lot of learning comes from the data that is available now.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
The
Yep,
teachers
kudos to that
respond to
team.
the data.
Mm-hmm.
Our superintendent sent to the board a little note about some administrators, the curriculum people, presenting to the Hamilton County Educational Services Center. I'm very proud of that.
Yep.
Any chance of them giving a brief presentation to us along the...
Sure.
Describe what was going on in the
Sure.
buildings and how the buildings shared with each other.
Sure.
I thought I think that's what it was about. That's
It
what
was,
I
it
heard.
was about all the math work that we've done in the district, working with the Hamilton County math specialist. So they did a tag team presentation to all the other curriculum leaders in the area about what we've been doing the past few years in the math, in our math classroom. So, oh my gosh, they would love to come share that.
I think
I
it'd be
mean, we've
good for
made
the word to get
great
out.
gains when it comes to what we've been doing with our
Yeah,
math programs.
I'd be proud of that.
It's always a proud day,
Yeah.
right, when you have your people presenting and sharing in front of other leaders
Right,
in the area.
right. So we ought to let our locals know about what they're doing too.
I'll invite them.
That's a good
Okay.
idea.
That's all.
Is that it? Get my sport bit out of the way.
I don't do sports anymore.
No. I'd like to congratulate the women's basketball team. They had 2 nice GMC wins. I think they beat Fairfield and Hamilton this past week and a half. And our men's team has been doing really well. They had a little hiccup, I think, last week. But they have two games this week, and they have a chance to finish pretty high in the GMC. Wrestling, bowling, I check out their scores. Both teams, men's and women's, in wrestling and bowling are doing a very nice job, as is the other winter sports. It was moving on to this week. My daughter's in 8th grade, and it's kind of hitting me already that she's going to be in the high school next year. They had an event at the high school to kind of introduce middle schoolers to scheduling, all those things, which caught me because I'm not ready for Claire to be in high school. But want to raise up our high school staff, Miss Bowman, Mr. King, our counselor. I think Mr. G was there.
Kesselbrock?
Yeah, I didn't want to tempt that last name. Miss Palmer was there translating. I think they had 2 sessions. They thought of almost everything. Did a really nice job articulating the opportunities, the importance of attendance, the importance of getting off to a good start as a freshman, because these things stay with you. And doing this so early in the year, where for me, we got all kinds of time before she's in high school, which in actuality, they're building the schedule and all those things are getting done now. And so I want to just say thank you to the middle and high school staff that took time out of their night, opened up the building, made it welcoming, and did a really good job highlighting all the good opportunities young people in Middletown have in our public schools. Also, in one of your communications, you mentioned Miss Vincent, Miss Brubaker, and the
And
good work,
Amanda.
the good work they're doing. Just have been impressed. I've known Mrs. Brubaker for years. She was a teacher of Evan, and she just does a phenomenal job. And now she's a teacher leader at Amanda. Really appreciate her. And Miss Vincent, her ability as an OG trainer in our district, we have a great resource in her, and being able to disseminate that information and having it in-house. I know my wife's district does not have that, and we're truly fortunate to have people like that in our district. And so I want to say thank you to the both of them tonight.
And they do that after school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Be applauded.
Mr. Bertram.
I'd just like to say I enjoyed the tour that we took to the 3 buildings, and these influencers are great. It's always nice seeing the smiles on their faces and interacting with them and getting some of the stories from them, learning a little more about them. But my takeaway that day was the young lady out at Amanda. How excited she was to be the influencer for us. I mean, she was visibly shaking. She was so excited, not nervous, just excited. And I thought to myself, you know, she doesn't know it, but she's influencing us more than that we're influencing her. And it's just a great takeaway that day, getting out to the buildings and seeing the things that are going on, and a lot of great things. So.
That was a good day, wasn't it?
It was.
Okay, we've had lots of visitors over the past couple weeks. We started with our university, Butler Tech, Butler County ESC, and business partners. We all gathered in a room for a couple hours to talk about Middletown High School redesign and start to think out of the box and thinking potential, and have we thought about from different perspectives. Had that last week. We also had our Ready Now 100 Business Partner Breakfast and middle of the year meeting. That was very successful. This time, not only did we have our Ready Now 100 business partners, but we invited 7th graders and 10th graders to the meeting. So at the end of the meeting, we had the opportunity for our students and our business partners to engage in some discussions around what's high school like, What do you wish your high school was like? Multiple different pieces of, really just reflections of what's it like to be in the business world. And our business partners were in high school and elementary school. So just the reflections and the conversations that took place between business partners and our students. Lots to be celebrated there. Also, we had the Ohio Department of Education, or ODU, as we call them now. They spent the day with us last week touring our elementary buildings. They wanted to come down and tour the P2T and the Adopt-a-Class programs because their offices focus on high school redesign, and they hadn't seen any programs that started in kindergarten and went in the elementary ages. So they wanted to come down and check that out, and while they were here, they also toured our high school. We went over to Mom, we checked out the airport, and really showcased the potential that we have in Middletown City Schools when it comes to our high school redesign. So, and then my favorite was the superintendent's group was of students, my high school group, was able to come over here and tour the 4th floor last week, so they were visitors over here. It's always amazing what they pick up when they come over. They visit someplace else. We walked them through all the different offices. How many people it takes to run a district of 10 buildings, 1,000 staff members, 6,000 students. So I think they had some really good takeaways. Their ahas. They were impressed by the money, all of the money. The different people that it took to pay the bills, write the checks, make sure payroll was met. So that was extremely eye-opening for them. And it's fun. It's fun to show and showcase what we do over here on the 4th floor. So lots of visiting, lots of people in the district. It's been a great past 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's anything else, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
There we go.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.